I have a dog over here. He's very photogenic, but he doesn't like to pose. He's how shall we say? Oh, there he is. There he is. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 hmm He's a good boy when he wants to be. Absolutely, he is a good boy. Yeah. Ah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tea in the backyard. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, so I figured I'd come down to the park and make the rest of this video down here because, I just figured I'd come out, That's a good thing. And, as I said, good morning. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and others who shall remain nameless. You know exactly who you are. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, it looks like we're going to have a gorgeous day, I think. Yeah, I believe we're going to have a gorgeous day. And there's a few projects that I need to get finished, so I'm going to go home and work on those after I'm done this. But before that, I want to talk about Canada. And some of the problems that we have in this country. And one of the problems that we have is an ongoing effort by the Conservative Party and the American government to undermine the Canadian government whenever we have the Liberals getting elected. This has been an ongoing problem for decades. The Liberals get in, and the Conservatives go work with the Americans for a while to try to undermine the Canadian government as a whole. Not just undermine the Liberal Party, but undermine Canada as a whole. The whole country. Yeah. And it's been getting worse. And with this is the thing with the gas and oil companies. The oil companies in this country also have a policy that when the Liberals are in, they jack up the prices. And they blame whoever the Liberal Prime Minister is. As if the Prime Minister could control the price of gas, because let's be honest, Stephen Harper made a law that made it illegal for the Canadian government to interfere with gas prices. And he did this specifically so that no future Liberal Prime Minister could ever force the gas and oil companies to lower their prices. It's the same reason he got rid of Petro-Canada. Petro-Canada was lowering the prices because it was the only publicly owned oil company in the country. The only publicly owned, Canadian-owned, got a sneeze happening. The only Canadian-owned, publicly owned gas station chain in the country. And yes, Petro-Canada was undercutting Gulf and Shell and Texaco. They were undercutting them. They were undercutting Exxon, forcing those companies to lower their prices, which kept gas prices reasonable in this country. And so Stephen Harper sold Petro-Canada to a consortium of American investors. And he sold it through Pierre Poilievre. And Pierre Poilievre was supposed to get at least $1 billion for it, and I don't even think he got $10 million for it. He was that incompetent. So those of you who want to vote for Pierre Poilievre, remember, Poilievre dropped the ball when he sold Petro-Canada to a bunch of American investors. He's the guy who could have gotten $1 billion and got barely $10 million. That's a few orders of magnitude less than what he should have been able to get. If you think that this is competent governance, boy, do I have some swampland to sell you. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I got some magic beans that'll, if you take them, you'll live forever. Absolutely. $1,000 a pill. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. But yeah, Stephen Harper introduced legislation to make it impossible for future liberal governments to push down the price of oil and gas when the oil companies were deliberately jacking it up to discredit the liberals. Yeah. And so that's been a thing for the last 16 years then. 15, 16 years. Not quite that long, but close enough. 13 years, I think. Yeah, 13 or 14 years. Yeah. As soon as Justin Trudeau was elected, all the American-owned gas and oil companies doing business in Canada jacked up their prices to discredit Justin Trudeau. Because, yeah, Stephen Harper made it possible for them to do it. And that's a thing in this country, unfortunately. That's one of many things in this country that need to be fixed. We need to overturn that particular omnibus bill that contains that particular brick of legislation that prevents the Canadian government from interfering to lower the price of oil and gas in this country. We need to do that. The Liberals need to have the courage to overturn that omnibus bill. They have to overturn it. And that's going to require, as I said, political courage. But they don't seem to have that, unfortunately. Another is the military. The military is ridiculously small, precisely because the American government kept telling us that we didn't need a big military. Why do you think the Americans kept telling us we didn't need a big military? It's not the communists making our army small. It's not the socialists. It's not the feminists. It's not the gays. It's been the American government. And yes, unfortunately, liberal and conservative administrations in this country alike have listened. So yeah, it's time for us to expand the military. And it's past time. Because, well, let's be honest, the Americans are talking about manifest destiny again, and yeah, that's always been on the table. There's never been a time when the Americans were not considering manifest destiny. There's never been a time when the American admonition to make your army smaller has ever been motivated by anything other than the idea that, yeah, Canada would be a nice 51st state. Or it would be a nice territory like Puerto Rico. Yeah. Expanding the military at this stage is not just a good idea, it's a fucking political, social, and national necessity. And yeah, we're going to have to do this on a budget. But we're going to have to do it, and we're going to have to do it fast, because the alternative is, well, not having a country anymore. People out walking their dogs. Yeah. But yeah, I like having a country. I like having universal public health care. I like having public education, public roads, public parks. I like having voting, elections, the right to have a say in how my country is governed. It's not a big say, but it is a say. I get to vote, and I vote rigorously and aggressively in every election. If we become an American territory or an American state, we lose all these things. We become the aliens in their country. And no, they're not going to hand out full American citizenship to us. They're not. Because they know that many of us are socialists and progressives. They know that many of us are Mixed race. Yes, mixed race is a big one. They don't like that either. Many of us are self-educated. We read extensively. They don't like that. Many of us care about Canada. They're definitely not going to like that. They're definitely not going to like that. And so they're going to make sure that we start out as outsiders in what used to be our country. You don't think they'll send settlers north? They will, believe me. They annex us, we become an American territory where only Americans can vote. We need to expand the military. And I don't mean creating a huge raft of special forces with specialized training and specialized equipment. I mean creating a large, functioning militia. A very large functioning militia. I would say recruiting about 1 million Canadians and issuing not the latest in high-tech weaponry, but the good old-fashioned Lee Enfield bolt-action rifle. That's a good rifle. Issue 1 million Lee Enfields. Rechamber them to NATO 308. That would work. Round up a whole bunch of those SKS rifles that are floating around the country. Rechamber them to 308. Issue them to the militia. That'd be a good rifle. The SKS is a very good rifle. And no, I'm not being paid to advertise the sale of SKS rifles, but yeah, I do strongly recommend them as a national defense rifle. And yeah, let's see if we can rechamber them to 308. That would work. Issue 1 million of them to an expanded Canadian militia who have, basic military training, required to report twice a year for 1 week of refresher training and maneuvers. Twice a year, absolutely. Field exercises. Keep us in shape. And change the requirements from you must be perfect to we'll take anybody as long as you're a Canadian with a heartbeat. That would work. The garbage would weed itself out very, very quickly, leaving only the good, solid loyalists. Absolutely. And we would have a military ready to defend our country as necessary. We can do that. We can do that in 1 year. It'll be hard, but it can be done, and it can be done on a budget. And yes, people are talking about how fresh new soldiers are issued with cast-off bits of uniform from different eras. Yeah, we can do that too. We can do that. Because the militia doesn't need identical high-tech camouflage. We just need olive green and khaki. As long as there's a Canadian flag badge on the shoulder and a Canadian flag badge on the forehead. Loyalist militia. 1 million loyalist militia. With admittedly outdated rifles and an intimate knowledge of the countryside. Yeah. Nobody's going to invade us when we have that. Nobody. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, and this is something that liberals and conservatives have both done, is reducing the military, making us increasingly dependent on the Americans, because the Americans just keep saying, you can trust us. You can trust us. We're your friends. And, I think we know better now. Yeah. The American Empire is not our friend, and the American Empire is, admittedly, expansionist. And yes, they are still thinking of Canada in terms of an American state or an American territory, or a collection of American states and American territories. That's how they see us, and we need to be ready for that. Let's expand the military. So, yeah, there are things that we need to fix in this country, and let's fix them. Write to your local member of parliament, federal parliament, because those are the people you need to be talking to right now. Write to your MP, whether they are liberal or conservative, and express to them your concerns for Canada's future as a country. And yeah, let's get this country back on track. Let's do that, okay? Let's do that.